Hi, everyone. Steve Baker, the voice of the Redhawks here, talking with the head coach of Miami hockey, Chris Bergeron, as the NCHC today announced their plans for the start of the 2021 season. And Chris, a pod in Omaha, divided into two conferences, or two divisions in the conference, I should say. It looks like a pretty good overall plan to get a lot of games in December and then start to move to a more normal thing with less travel in the second half of the season.
Yeah, you have to commend Josh Fenton and Michael Wiseman and that staff of the NCHC. This has been something being talked about for the last couple of months. Obviously, using the NHL and the NBA as the model in terms of the bubble concept, it started to get some momentum. It started to make some sense, and then you get some specific questions answered, and then it sounded like it came down to two potential places. Both places would have been outstanding, and the presidents voted for Omaha yesterday. So we're excited about it. I know our players, just want a plan. Mm-hmm. They're 20-year-old boys generally, and they just want to know what the plan is. So we're preparing for something. So I'm excited for them.
Well, we talked about, I mentioned that there's two divisions now in the NCHC for this year. Miami, Minnesota, Duluth, St. Cloud State, and Western Michigan is in the East. And then the West is going to consist of Colorado College, Denver, North Dakota, and Omaha. Now, those will be the teams that you'll face in the bubble, if I'm correct, because obviously you won't be traveling to any of those places in the second half of the season. And, so a lot of challenges in the early part of that schedule, Coach.
Well, the NCHC poses challenges, whether
absolutely.
Whether you're playing the West Division or the East Division, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you're right. Our competition in the bubble is going to focus primarily on the teams that are furthest away from us, quote unquote. So we will play Denver twice. We'll play Omaha twice. At least of what we've been told, what we've seen in pencil on paper is we'll play North Dakota, Omaha, CC, and Denver 2 times each, which is 8 games. And then somebody, probably Duluth or St. Cloud, the other 2 times. Mm-hmm. And then the second half of the year, those 16 games will focus on Western, Duluth, and St. Cloud. Again, Western obviously is the closest trip to us. Duluth and St. Cloud, we've talked about busing, so we stay off of commercial airplanes for sure, and try to stay within some sort of reason in terms of our travel, so to keep budgets in line and those kind of things. So I think from a safety and health perspective, which was the first and foremost focus of our league, I think they've done a nice job. And from a budget/travel perspective, I think they've done a nice job as well. I mean, there's no other way to get to Denver or Colorado College. I mean, within reason, and then North Dakota's a long trip for us. So we have eliminated 3 of the 4, or 3 of the longest trips we have anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously in a bubble, everybody all 8 teams in Omaha, you wonder about medical treatment, that sort of stuff. It's all being handled at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. And you talked about, the Commissioner Josh Fenton and everybody really thinking through everything. Everything's at Baxter Arena. I mean, this is good as scenario as it could get when you're trying to get 8 teams all under one roof and have everything kind of taken care of.
I think so. And anybody that knows Josh and his staff, they know that there's nobody more detailed than him. There's no stone that'll get not overturned. He wants to find out and talk about and decide on everything beforehand. And Bake, you and I both know over the last 8 months, this coronavirus thing, the last thing you can do is prepare, because you just never know.
You never know, exactly.
But I think we will have all the answers that we can going into the beginning of December. I think we'll obviously roll with the punches a little bit when we have to. I think that the 16-game schedule on the back end Those are theoretically should be 8 weekends, right? I think we're going to have 10 to 11 weekends to play those 8 weekends. So there's some flexibility there, which was built in, which was why we should do 10 games in a bubble on the front end to leave us some flexibility on the back end. And we're still butting up against a national tournament date that hasn't been changed yet. So all of these things were talked about, again, with first and foremost focus being the health and safety, which, as you mentioned, the University of Nebraska Medical Center have made it pretty well in terms of keeping the boys and the staff healthy and safe.
Yep. So final question for you, Chris, between now and December 1st, when all this begins, what's the plan for Miami hockey? Obviously, you usually get, a few weeks ahead of time, and now you got a little bit of planning time to try and put together the team and have them ready by December 1st.
Yeah, I think off the ice bake will be pretty much handled. We'll talk about the travel there. I'm sure the hotels have already been distributed, and we'll just be told where we're staying and who to contact and that. So we can forget about that. The one thing off the ice that they will have to focus on is exam week. That first week of the bubble is exams for Miami University. Now, they were going to be remote anyway, remote and or online. But there will be some moving parts there that we'll have to work through, i.e. if we're playing a game during an exam time where it's not take it when you want, it's take it at 1 o'clock on Wednesday.
Right.
So we'll work through those details. On the ice, we're in preparation mode. We've had a difficult fall, like everybody else has, in terms of keeping healthy bodies, not isolated or quarantined bodies on the ice. But by the time we get to the weekend and maybe beginning to early middle of next week, we should have the whole complement of players. And now we're preparing. Now we're probably looking at 6 or 7 weeks of preparation time, which is about normal. Now, we're not jumping into the league play typically, but we are preparing over the course of 6 weeks for games. Well, that's where we are. Our focus will be to a game plan together, put a lineup together, evaluate the players that we have, whether they be returners or new. Nothing really changes that way on the ice. It's preparation time, and I look forward to preparing this group. We look forward to preparing this group.
Chris, thanks so much, man. Appreciate the time, and look forward to actually seeing that schedule and see the games and the dates and the times and all that sort of thing. But appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Thanks for having me, Bake. Stay safe and healthy, man. Take care of yourself.